Now let's move to another topic, coaching. A coach is a person who supports you and guides you along the journey instead of directly teaching you. The main goal of any coach is to build awareness, empower choice, and as a result lead to change. Our next speaker, Miša Kozinová, is a coach and she works with managers. But before she decided to be a coach, she achieved some great results as a manager herself in companies like Moravia IT or Red Hat. Working with many C-level managers from globally operating companies, she meets not only men but also women in their roles of leaders. How different is the women leadership? What benefits does it bring, and how we can create a more welcoming environment for more women leaders? These are the questions for Miša.
Thank you. Okay, hello and thank you for having me. For the sake of introduction, thank you very much. It was very nice. I spent my entire professional life in IT, but I didn't study IT, which was quite a handicap. I am a living proof, I think, what Bara was just talking about. I had plenty of interests, and my family support was in the area of languages and business. So guess what I studied? I studied French literature and Italian literature because my mom is an interpreter. And I studied business at Brno Faculty of Technology here. But I was always drawn to bright people, to intelligent challenges, and that's why I was always attracted to go for IT. That's where my career started by coincidence, by sheer luck, and by my readiness to just go for it. And so I will also say that in my 20 years of leadership career, I've seen so many women just giving up because they had a negative experience. And what I'd like to invite the audience that we have today is to think twice about how do we stop that from happening. And so my talk today will be targeted to both women and men. And my ambition is to inspire everybody to make technology a fun place to work together. And so, ladies first, aspiration. Who here works in technology already? Okay, awesome. Who here is in the management role? Mm-hmm. Okay, who here would like to be in a management role? Maybe, Who here would like to be promoted? If you are in a manager role already, nice. So it all starts with aspiration. Ladies, if you do not aspire for something bigger and greater and you don't aspire for leadership, it will probably not happen to you. Without aspiration, your dreams may not come true. Courage, or courage. It will take guts. IT is still a minority. Women in IT are still a minority. So what happens if you're different? If you walk into the room that's full of men and there you are and you're different, you're a woman, what happens? Exactly. All eyes on you, right? And so it's kind of uncomfortable. But courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action in the face of fear. It's feeling uncomfortable and doing it anyway. And so I invite you to reframe. So rather than to feel discomfort or something, discomfort after all is what pushes us forward anyway, right? And it's what motivates us. It's a proof that we are not staying in our comfort zone. And so when you're in a spotlight, that's a great thing. You have attention. And so having the attention, you can make it work for you and you can just, it's your opportunity to shine. Now, humor. I think this is the best thing about IT and technology. And I'm not speaking just pure IT. Technology powers all sort of so many wonderful things. You can go into medical tech, into knowledge tech, into wellness tech. There is software as a service for pretty much anything, and that can be noble and inspiring causes. And the best part about it that I feel uniform and universal in IT is that they gather brilliant minds with a wonderful sense of intelligent humor. And that's amazing. Like, we all know that if we are in stress, the cortisol hits and our mental ability and intelligence is kind of paralyzed. So even when things go hard, and even if we have if we are in big trouble, what I love about meetings in IT is that we start and we are not so serious about it. We just laugh. There are jokes, there's humor, and yes, we focus on solution and we focus on getting things done, but we do it in a light way so that we can tap to our brains and to our mental ability and do it in an inspired and get it done manner. Speaking of being at the spotlight, you will be also tested whether you can handle the humor. Bara was speaking about the boys club. Yeah, they want to test you a little bit. They want to see if you can handle them, if you can laugh with them. And it's kind of a good thing. And I invite you to reframe for yourself, and that is, don't take yourself too seriously. That's universal, by the way, but yeah, don't take yourself too seriously. It doesn't mean that you will not set boundaries, but you can acknowledge the sense of humor that the other party is coming with, and you just say, yeah, very funny, but don't. Discrimination. I know that I'm not bringing something new to the table, and also Bara was talking about it in her talk. We all would love technology to be a wonderful place and rainbows and unicorns, but we are not there yet. So discrimination, you will face it one way or the other. You will face negative discrimination, like you will be told like I was told, this team will never accept women as a manager. Or forget about any chance for promotion. Like, look at you. You are the only woman in the leadership team already. Like, you will never get promoted. In this company, even the head of HR is a man. And to that, I'd invite you to just, prove them wrong. Positive discrimination is equally as bad, if not worse. Because you want to be hired for competence, right? You want to be hired for who you are, for what you bring to the table. What if you're told or implied that the reason that you were hired is that of diversity? And I guess you just need to swallow your ego and reframe for yourself that you were hired not only for what you bring to the table and not only for your competence, but also because of the diversity that you bring to the team. And just show them that what you do have matters and is valuable. Now, choice. Sometimes bad luck strikes. And you end up reporting to a bad boss, you end up in a wrong company, you end up being somewhere where you don't like to be. Like one of a very strong and amazing women that I know who started in technology as an individual contributor. And then when the opportunity arose and there was a management position open, she applied for the job. Now, she was told by her boss back then that she first needs to prove herself and that she needs to deserve it. That she can wait 5 or maybe 8 years to prove herself and to deserve it, and then she might be given a chance to become a manager. But she was a great leader, and she felt that she had great communication skills. She was great in planning. She was great with process. She was great with people. And she was highly competent. And she goes like, okay, so I will not stay here. And so I want to introduce you Kate. Just watch a little video with me.
I joined Red Hat in 2017. I was very ambitious to become a people manager at some point. In my past career experience, I was actually told that I was aggressive for pursuing that. I came to Red Hat for the freedom. You really have the opportunity here to own your work. I've been encouraged to be myself and embrace the characteristics that I bring to the table. The core kernel team, we deal with a lot of very challenging technical problems. We can really collaborate with each other to solve those problems, to bounce ideas off of each other. The real-time kernel is actually a core piece of 4G and 5G networks that my team is working on. It's something that is used to connect people throughout the world. It feels very cool, honestly. We have a really unique mix of global perspectives, experience level, passions. You are given growth opportunities, and you're also given the freedom to be your authentic self. I'm Kate Karsha, and I'm an Associate Engineering Manager. I am part of the Red Hat Products and Technologies organization.
So this was Kate. How cool is that? Speaking of being at the spotlight, right? This video is Red Hat official recruitment. Okay, this video is official Red Hat recruitment video. So it's all over the internet, and Red Hat uses it all the time. And I think, how cool is that? So you do have a choice. Choose for going for leadership. Don't take assistant job if you're good with planning and with people. Just go for management opportunities right away. Okay. Now, men in the room and in the audience. I said, let's create a fun environment together. And so I invite you to up your game. When it comes to the choice, choose to be considerate. Choose your words carefully. It's different when you say you will never succeed as a manager of this team because they will never accept women as a leader. If you really have to say something like that because you're genuinely concerned about the success of that lady, maybe choose to say, that team never reported into the woman, but we are sure we hired you and we are sure that you will shine, that you will convince them by your actions. When it comes to discrimination, I'm long enough in the IT industry that I know for granted that there's nobody who would discriminate a woman intentionally, or hardly anybody. Like if you have two equally qualified candidates, I'm pretty sure you would happily give a go for a woman. I know that for granted. But what I also know is that there is so much that you don't even realize. Stuff like, Bara was talking about it, the attitude that you're bringing to the table. Parents here who are men. I remember when I was a head of technical support in Red Hat for EMEA, I had a very multinational, very, very diverse team. We had 17 nationalities, all sorts of religions, cultural backgrounds, colors. We had a great team where even women, see, that's what I'm saying, where women had a say. And I remember we were discussing and debating the topic of discrimination and that of negative discrimination. And I'm hearing my engineers that I value so much and that I love, and they would follow me to hell and then back. I hear them saying, women are not good for code. Girls are not interested in technology. Girls are not good, like, why should we support them if they are not good for it? And I could see the expression, the facial expression on the faces of the ladies in the room. And so I invited these folks who were so open about how girls are not good with technology. I invited them to look at the faces of their colleagues. And I go like, guys, are you serious? And they go like, And then I go like, let me ask you one more question. Would you say these very same words that you just said to your ladies' colleagues, would you say those to your daughters? And I wish you could have been there to see the expressions on their faces. That was such an aha moment for them. Now, for the positive discrimination, that's where it starts to be even more interesting, because I know that the men in IT just find it, or a lot of the men that I know, find it kind of difficult to say, why should we prioritize women? Why should we lower the criteria? Even hear the narrative. It's not lowering the criteria, it's broadening the criteria so that you don't filter women automatically out. So all I want to ask you is, if you're writing a job posting and all you're getting in terms of curriculum is men, you may want to think about how to rewrite your job posting, not to lower the criteria, but to broaden the criteria so that you get more diversity into the team. They say that the big crisis of 2008 would not have happened had Lehman Brothers had some Lehman sisters in the team. So when it comes to humor, my message to the men is, keep it. It's awesome. It's awesome to work in the atmosphere where laughter is part of the game. It's amazing. Now, humor is an interesting thing. It's not the same for everyone. And so before you go full on funny, you may want to test the waters first, because what you find hilarious might be borderline offensive or rude for someone else. Courage. You will need to be brave as well. For hiring the first girl into the boys' club, for hiring the first female manager, you will need to have that courage too. You will have to be ready to be challenged yourself by different perspectives, by even defending to your male colleagues and to the team that will never respect a woman for a manager. It takes guts to be in that position where you make such a decision. And my last slide is on aspiration. And I'm looping back to where I started. Let's all aspire to make IT a place where men and women are equally represented, and lift the Czech Republic to the place where we tap into the talent that Czechita is trying to groom for us. And with that, thank you very much, and I open the floor for questions.
Thank you very much, Miša. And I'm looking to the audience if they would like to ask something. It takes some time, but yeah, here we are.
So you were talking about teams where men were discriminated against women or had some biases. I would just ask you, do you think it's reasonable to prove them wrong every time, or is it reasonable to choose another team? Which should we prioritize more?
One was proved them wrong, or the other option was?
Choose another team, choose another company,
team.
which is not discriminating. Or you think that these companies or teams are not existent yet?
That's a really great question. And I don't think there's a universal answer for that. I'd say prove them wrong once, and then show them, look. Prove them wrong twice. And if you still feel that the environment is hostile or toxic for you, then choose the team. I think that's the best indicator. when you're going home exhausted, tired, and generally down, that's not a healthy environment for you. And there are plenty of teams, to answer the second part of your question. I do believe, authentically, I do believe that there are plenty of companies and plenty of teams where such toxic environment is non-existent. Like, for example, Moravia IT, where that was my second company. That was a company founded and owned by a very strong woman. So there, the topic of discrimination was not even a topic. Like, she was there, her very presence and her actions, and the people that she chose to work with her, men and women, created such an awesome environment that anyone was welcome and included from day one. Yes, I had to do some proving. Yes, because I didn't study IT, and here I am to lead, the team of IT folks. So there is an element of proving yourself, I think, everywhere where you want to progress. But when you feel that the environment is not healthy for you, get the hell out of there.
So is there any other question or remark or comment or experience?
What is your experience, and what often happens with these topics, like really like lifting women within leadership, etc. That it's a topic that is often like put last on the meeting agenda, right? What works to help the managers to prioritize it? Do you have experience that this really happened, that change at a certain thing, help them put this as the first thing on their agenda and prioritize it? What's your experience in that area?
That's a very interesting question indeed. And I was thinking whether I have the same experience that you were just describing. And I think I did not even. But I was also thinking about how come I didn't have the same experience? How come I don't share your experience? And that would be my next message to the ladies in the audience. Step up for yourself. Don't wait for others to come and save you. Just step up and say, hey, we have this topic on the agenda. And yes, I was called the Queen of Diversity when it came to Red Hat. And I go why would that even be? Yes, multiple nationalities. Yes, very multicultural team. Women, colors, religions, and all that stuff. But that should have been normal, right? And to me, it was normal. But because I just ignored that bias, I just went after it and got it. So sometimes, back to aspiration, when you aspire for something and you're inside the companies, help Chiquitas step up and say, hey, we have this outreach program. We need more female candidates. We want to hire more people of diversity, and we need to rewrite the job descriptions in a way that are friendly for women and that attract women into our field. And I hope that answers your question, does it?
Yeah. The more interesting situation when you are not in the room. What helps the company to keep the focus when you are not in the room? Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting one. I don't know. My strategy was to hire enough women so that there was always a woman in the room. That's how I flipped it around.
You want to react? Okay, there is another question, so I'm passing the microphone.
Thank you very much. I have probably a little bit controversial question, so I need to phrase it very carefully. There is a hearsay, or maybe research as well, I don't know, but quite often you hear that among managers there is a large percentage of psychopaths, people who are really kind of larger than the population, basically. And I certainly can witness that. I work for about 8 organizations, and I saw many people who are not quite right in their mind, mostly men, I must say, generally more men. Do you think that there is a gender imbalance in that respect, or that women are probably less prone to be psychopathic in that respect? or not?
That's a funky question. So, okay. I'm trying to make this. So, number one, I didn't study psychology and I didn't study statistics in that regard. So, I will speak about my own experience and about what I know from the background of coaching. And now I study psychotherapy, not psychology. I think it comes down to, and again, like you said, it's a controversial topic. So even the answer that I will give will be maybe not 100% politically correct, let's put it this way. But I think that women, when women are there in leadership positions in technology field, typically that's because these are strong women who care. Their primary motivation is that of being in an interesting field, surrounded by interested people, and make a difference. I did witness a lot of people in leadership positions who had different motivations, and that was the motivation of me first. And so maybe that might be the difference. I would also say go for leadership if you're genuinely a good person, if you do like people. Do not go for leadership if you don't. And sometimes I think we fail to filter this when we accept people into leadership positions. Probably didn't answer 100% because I don't have the perfect answer.
I don't think there's an answer to that, to be honest. I think it is.
But I'll say this, I did report into a person who was extremely toxic. Like I could not diagnose him and I wouldn't diagnose him as psychopath, but certainly the behavior traits that he used to deal with me, like picking up the phone and yelling at me for no reason, requesting a report that I should have known he wanted, but never asked for. Those were like, you know, not a pleasant experience, to say. And I survived him. What I mean by that, he left before I did. I think this is a great achievement. But also it taught me a wonderful lesson. Whenever my clients complain to me, be it men or women, that they have a toxic boss, I go like, there's a hope that others will see this toxicity as well, and he will leave or she will leave sooner or later. And you can survive them and replace them, which is a great opportunity then for you to shine. And two, if you survive this, you will survive anything. So yes, resilience is a lot needed, and bravery when you encounter such a person as your direct manager.
Okay, we have some space for the last question. So if you would like to ask something, and if not, then I would like to ask something. How often do you deal when coaching women with the topic of support in private life? Because there is a saying, behind every successful man there is a woman, and it might be also vice versa. So do you think that this is also an issue, to have this support for being female leader among husbands and partners? Or do they also reproduce some stereotypes and obstacles that can be hard to avoid when a woman tries to be better at her career and achieve leadership position?
That's a wonderful question. And I think historically we do have a certain patterns of behavior. We were raised in certain ways, and then we kind of reproduce it going forward. In my work in coaching women, and not necessarily only women, I do believe that performance is related to how we feel internally. Basically, it's also proven by studies, scientifically backed, that if we feel good, we perform better. And so in coaching, it's typically not that oftentimes it's the business who pays for the coaching, and the client comes and I can see right away that something is wrong. We end up talking private life like this. And the companies know that what they are paying for is not like, hey, let's discuss this project and let's discuss this deadline and let's discuss how to get there. But they know that they are paying for associates' well-being, for them feeling good and therefore performing at their best. Now, whether female leaders have a more difficult life, a more challenging life, I would say so. Because historically and stereotypically, the eyes are on us when it comes to making decisions about kids, what they study, how do we support them, how do we raise them, maternity leave and all that stuff. And that's why I think if we have students in the audience, go for the leadership roles early. Because by the time you're, especially if kids are anywhere on your agenda, build your career when you can, when you're free, when you do not have kids to go to school with and to, I don't know, to go with them to the doctor. And same message within the same lines to men. Do give a chance to women, and young women specifically, because when they have kids, their priorities might change. Their life might change, and you might not get a second chance to tap into that talent. When you provide good environment for them, they will come back, and then you will have that potential forever. But if you don't groom that potential in the early age of ladies, you might not get a second chance.
And maybe I would like to ask about the opposite strategy. If a woman has children soon, because there's also a biology associated with having this chance, and then starts career after the children are a bit older, and she has all the time for building her career and working on herself.
And that's even a better question. Yes. Yes. When a woman starts a career, or raises the family early, what typically happens is that her confidence gets a great hit. Because she studied, then she went straight to having kids. And then she feels like it's too late, like Bara was speaking about it earlier in her talk. And my message is again the same. It's never too late. And especially in IT, you have a unique chance because of that positive discrimination. Just know that you are bringing something to the table, your organization skills. How cool is that, that you can organize the family life and the kids' education and all that stuff, make all these important decisions. That's already a great qualification for you to be a great leader. So, early or not, just go for it. And we have these outreach programs like Red Hat. Other companies that I know about are tapping into Chiquitas. Take your kids to Chiquitas. Take the courses yourself. I have a client, a coaching client, who is a graduate of Chiquitas. And she started as a QA engineer when she had kids already and she didn't have any career before. And she is now a leader in her field and in her role. So it's never too late.
Okay, so thank you very much, Miša, for all the empowering words for us, for women, but both for men who might support women more. So thank you. Thank you.